When the ravens leave the Tower of London, where do they go?
They're not allowed to leave,
something,
are they?
you know, the throw of the monarchy, or I think something horrible happened.
Well, it's a myth. So the notion is that they've consistently lived at the Tower since the reign of Charles II, and that he was warned the crown would fall if the ravens ever left. In fact, the earliest record that we can find of ravens at the Tower only goes back as far as 1895, and probably it was to do with the sort of raven craze that followed Edgar Allan Poe's famous poem in the 1850s, and we can't find any evidence of them being further back than that. So usually there are 6 ravens, right, in the Tower, and they get raw meat and dead mice. Special treat, biscuits soaked in blood. Anybody? There was one called George, who was a repeat offender, and in 1981 he disappeared but was recaptured at the local pub and made to return to duty. But his bad behaviour continued, and eventually he was retired. The Tower announced on Saturday, the 13th of September 1986, Raven George, enlisted 1975, was posted to the Welsh Mountain Zoo. Conduct unsatisfactory.
They posted him. died in the envelope on the way there.
But he's not the only raven to have gone AWOL. There are wonderful stories which Christopher Scaife, the current Raven Master of the Tower, recounts in his book The Raven Master, My Life with the Ravens at the Tower of London, and he talks about how Raven Moonin escaped in 2010, but you don't need me to tell you about that because he is here himself. Raven Master, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming. Tell me about Moonin's escape. What happened?
I was a little bit worse for wear one morning when I was getting the ravens up, and it was at a time when I was going through some minimum wing trimming, and Moonin herself wasn't trimmed up very much, and when I opened up the enclosure, she got out and flew off.
And was it OK?
No.
No.
No, she flew off, and she disappeared for 7 days. She was eventually found in Greenwich on the Royal Observatory.
Astronomy.
Yeah. And did she come back then? Did you take her back?
Well, she did eventually. She was caught by a member of the public and eventually returned back to the Tower of London under an ASBO, and that's where she spent the rest of her life.
Is it true that ravens play Kaplunk?
Yes. But not with plastic straws. I use spaghetti straws because it's obviously better for them.
Yeah.
And in fact, Moonin was very, very good at it. It would take her about 45 seconds or so to get the mouse out with going around and pulling out all the spaghetti.
And did you use a real mouse?
Yes, I did, yes.
OK, moving on.
With very small pants.
Very small pants.
Because they're ravens, there are crows, and what's the other one?
Rooks.
Rooks, yes. And I don't know how to tell the difference between them.
Well, they're different species, really. A raven happens to be about twice the size of a crow, so it's like the daddy of them all the birds, really, and the most intelligent.
They have excellent memories, do they not? Is that right?
They do. They remember for life, yes, for good and bad reasons as well. Some of them like me, some of them, like Moonin, who I chased around Greenwich, didn't.
Now, talked about having a very good memory. So here's the thing. You were supposed to be on the show before we had lockdown.
I was.
And you were supposed to be here on your wedding anniversary.
I was.
So we were very excited about this. And you've got your wife, Jasmine, with you. Hello, Jazz. Welcome to the show. How many years is it?
32.
32. Wow, that's fantastic. So anyway, because you were coming in on your wedding anniversary and you were both going to be here, we thought we'd get you a cake. So we're now here, finally doing this show. 5 months later, we found the cake. It was still backstage.
Delicious.
The cake is there, shaped like your hat. It was a light sponge. We're going to get Tom to decide later on.
But I'll judge it, yes. But I feel like it might be quite a heavy sponge now. I think the ravens might need it soaked in blood.
But thank you both very much for coming in. How fantastic.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you for having us.
Lovely. Thank you for watching. Do remember to subscribe to the QI channel and click here to watch more videos.